Now you see that? That has been in one spot or another on the floor for at least, I'm guessing at least 8 months. Last fall. Something like that. I'll have to look and see if I still have a packing slip. Anyway, I think it's about time to open it up and, you know, move it to a different spot on the floor. Well. Probably have to put it right back down on the floor to lift it out of there. Part of the reason I went with this one is because I want to say it was like half the price of the DeWalt. So we'll see whether or not it's half the machine. Safety goggles, earplugs, extra set of brushes. Lots of styrofoam. That's the biggest pain in the butt to get rid of. Okay. Come on. Today's recycle day, so that's part of the motivation for getting it out of the box. I want to get that cardboard out and out of here. I figure if I've had it 8 months, you know, I'm kind of past all the, well, maybe not past the warranty times and stuff, but whatever. I like that. The last abrasive one I had a chain I had to deal with. This one's got a spring-loaded pin there. Okay. Now that was the one thing that made it kind of hard to decide on. So the drawback was it didn't have the flip, the quick release for the clamp. You know, and I thought about it and I was like, you know, I kind of got it so I could do repetitive cuts. You know, if I don't have it out somewhere where I can get at it every time, I'm not going to be using it for onesie-twosie cuts. I'll have, you know, I got several bandsaws I can do that with. But I'm hoping to be able to do this repetitively with enough accuracy. There's a big Allen there. I'm guessing that is for, yeah, that's for the blade change. That's spring loaded, so you can run it back and forth. And I doubt it's set very well, so let's check it real quick. Alright, eyeballing it, that's pretty dang close there. You gotta lift up on it and okay. I should probably try something a little bit not quite so aggressive. Obviously I need to put the handle on and oh, nice. That slips over that so you can hold pipe, round parts. Cool. Feels like there's a lockout in the button there that you can... I can't imagine locking it on. And there is a spindle lock. Cool. Is this a good choice? Probably not. Oh, plus I got it out of paper, but there is a chip tray under there. But on the paper might be a little too iffy. So I guess if we light the cardboard on fire, it's a nice step up. So let's see how it cuts that off. So I don't, you know, I've watched a lot of videos, stuff like that. These kind of saws and this saw just cut right through that. So I'm more interested in being able to cut stuff like this. So let's see what happens. took several seconds for me to actually feel it through the gloves. So it's not cold, but it is nowhere near hot. Yeah, shit, that's pretty impressive. And as far as going down, I probably could have gone down a bit more aggressively. I didn't actually really feel any pressure until I got to the very bottom. Going through the sidewalls there, the only thing I felt was the spring resistance. So let's move it over, cut another one, and then we'll check and see whether or not any of it's square and stuff like that. And the biggest difference between this one and the other one is this pull-down handle. So when it's up on a table like this, it's a little high, and this is kind of hard. So to get at this, the DeWalt has that, and a couple others, they have that handle that you can grab sideways. So having it on a higher place, that would be a whole lot easier. Take a little getting used to kind of thing, but you know, if this thing cuts an axe like the other ones, I can't see spending, you know, because they're $500. This thing, I bought 2 spare blades at like 90 to 100 bucks a piece, and it was still under 500. So let's see. Alright, I wasn't watching. Anybody see where the part went? Oh! Back on the floor behind me. Now, since that one had the burr on it, looks like the burr is going with the piece, so that means this burr is the left side. It's not perfectly smooth. That could be partly cutting technique, stuff like that, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it. So you can just see a little wave there, and that's because of the curve of the blade, you know. I mean, it comes in and it's going to walk around a little bit there. It is a pretty darn thin blade, so if you push down on it too hard, I'm sure it's going to walk sideways and stuff. But let's get some calipers. And I may need to cut another one just to use the same pressure as I did on this one. So let's do it this way and take an average because of the texture of the thing. So I got point. Yeah, definitely some burr there. Let's get rid of the burr. Because I didn't want to put any grinding or anything right on the face there and change the thickness. All right, 0.496. That's definitely definitely on the big side, but you can tell when you get down here, it drops back down to where it should be. Oh, and the wire wheel made it warmer than the saw did. 0.496. 0.494. 0.495. Well, that side's definitely better than the, yeah. The side from that cut's really, really rough compared to the other side, but looks like it's about, this top's about 10 thou shorter than this, so it's leaned in. And this way. So I don't know if there's any kind of compensation in the hinge pivot, the table. You know, and I'm not really expecting it to get extremely accurate, but if it could get pretty close, it makes it a whole lot easier to, one, it'll make it a whole lot faster, but then it'll make it a whole lot easier to true up in the lathe and stuff like that for some of these round parts. Should we pull out the cojones early? And suppose I could put the that's pretty darn tight, and it didn't lift it up. This is high enough it's actually pushing it down. I have that problem on the bandsaw because on the bandsaw the screw is actually under the table, so it actually wants to push the clamp up. So this could come slightly the other way, but I'm going to cut a thicker item, be a little easier to check. And Let's see how it cuts. We'll see how far it wanders this time. Bandsaw is definitely quieter. This one's got some heat to it, okay? That's got a big, huge heat sink, so there's hardly any heat there, but this is... that starts to get a little uncomfortable, so... but it cut it. Let's see, I had all this stuff up, so... yeah, this wandered a lot more. Could just be that it's a lot more noticeable. And I don't know if... oh, it did want to focus. Nice. Yeah, so some of that is definitely alignment of the chuck. The other part is, you know, because I'm making such a thick cut, it's got to push it around somehow. And I don't know if I should be pushing it harder or not. There's the surface finish. You know, you can see it's kind of rounded on the edges. I'm not sure if that's from chip recutting or what, but... you know, the bandsaw cuts, bandsaw cuts definitely a bit nicer. So let's try something a little more like what I'm trying to do. Alright, so this is 1 inch 1018. And I need to make 100 little 5/8 inch thick pieces. So I'm really kind of hoping, it's one of the reasons bringing the saw out now. I haven't had a great need for it. I've got 2 other bandsaws. I'm really kind of hoping I can set up some kind of marker or stop and just keep cutting these, you know. But I got a feeling I'm going to probably end up having to use the bandsaw. Definitely, this is definitely faster, but I could put a more aggressive blade in the bandsaw probably and go right through it. So let's see what it does. Well, the fact that it didn't grab it and rip it away in that crap, I find that rather impressive, actually. All I did was put this under here to catch it so it wouldn't, you know, hit the end and flip up and that kind of stuff. But, wow. Oh, that's nice. I didn't realize you could... the bar thing, I thought I had to put it down to get it to go. It's spring-loaded. I can just pick it up and look at it. So I don't think I'm pushing too hard because I don't see any marks at all on the tab leading it. You know, and I mean, that's supposed to keep it from going down too deep too quick, I would think. Yeah, see it? There's a tiny nick in this one right here. So at $100 a blade, you know, I don't know that I'm necessarily going to want to use this to repetitively chop, you know, 100 pieces of solid there. So piece needs to be 5/20, so I'm going to cut it at 5/8. On a memory card. 2 minutes left. Crap. Guess I've been filling it up and didn't realize it. The rest of the bar is cold. That's just barely warm. That's hardly warm. Hardly warm. Yeah, definitely. Now that cut there's, well, let's see here. This is the direction it was going. That's not bad. Top to bottom definitely wanders around. You know, and there's probably a good 20 thou in that right corner there. So it says I got 0 minutes, so it's going to shut off on me. So anyway, I'll play with it some more. We'll see how it goes. Well, this seems to be a pretty nice use for this saw. These are 5-foot chunks of DOM. This is 2 1/4 with a 1/2 inch wall. Alright, so the 10-foot piece weighed 93 pounds. The 5-footer then would be, you know, 46.5. I already cut one 20-inch section off, you know, so in thirds, so out of that 40, so about 15 pounds a chunk or whatever. So kind of a pain in the butt in the bandsaw because it's down lower and that stuff. This was real easy to just set in here and clamp down. So anyway, we'll slice it off again. And it builds up a little magnetism around the cut. Alright. Now the question is, do I cut up the rest of it or leave it for later? Well, I'm going to put this in here as a comparison to that, to the chop saw. The Rage 2 Evolution. And, you know, when I get some time to play with some other cuts on it, stuff like that, I probably will. But so this is my 7x12 bandsaw. It's got a hydraulic downfeed. I have it set to slow up just a little bit. Now if I open that up a little bit and let it feed a little faster, you'll see it cuts even quicker with the gravity. I just don't want to do that too much and wear the blade out, you know what I mean? Alright, so that's how fast we'll let it fall. And at that point there, we're getting pretty darn close to the chop saw. But, you know, we've got a much... Well, this sucker's hot though. Ha ha ha. Quite hot. I cut one already, so that piece is That piece is very warm.